I leaned against the edge of the counter, the coffee cup trembling slightly in my hand, though not from the caffeine. Emily was absorbed in her phone, laughing at something on the screen, completely lost in another world. I tried to catch her eye, but she was already scrolling to the next message, another distraction, another person. I cleared my throat, hoping for even a flicker of attention. "So, how many has it been?" The words slipped out before I could second-guess them. For a heartbeat, her smile faltered, just enough to make me pause. Then she looked up at me, eyebrows raised, tilted her head like she was weighing a joke she wasn't sure she should tell. "Excuse me," she said, voice light, teasing almost. I leaned a fraction closer. "Body count, jokingly." And then it happened. Her laughter cut off mid-chuckle, that careless, effortless smile disappearing entirely. Her eyes narrowed slightly, a flash of seriousness beneath the surface. I had crossed a line she hadn't anticipated. Or perhaps I had simply voiced a thought that had been lingering unspoken in the back of her mind, like a shadow at the edge of the room. Silence fell between us, heavy and suffocating, the kind that presses down on your chest and makes every breath deliberate. The dishwasher hummed, the kettle whistled quietly, but neither of us moved. I felt a mix of fear and curiosity, the kind that sharpens your mind even as your pulse quickens. "Why would you even—" she began, then stopped, pressing her lips together as if trying to hold something back. Her fingers twitched around the mug, curling tightly, calculating. The conversation was more serious than I had intended, or perhaps exactly as intended. I sipped my coffee, steadying myself. I hadn't stumbled. I had meant every word. This wasn't idle curiosity. It was observation, noticing, understanding. Suddenly I realized she knew I understood more than I let on. Her posture stiffened, shoulders pulling back, bracing herself for an invisible challenge. That's when I smiled, not the easy, joking kind, but the quiet, sharp smile of someone who sees everything, even what is hidden. She swallowed, caught in the sudden stillness. Laughter gone, understanding dawning. Her phone sat on the table, fingers lingering on the edge as if debating retreat or confrontation. I remained where I was, careful not to move too quickly, careful not to betray the thrill dancing in my chest. Power and patience. She was starting to feel it. "You really don't joke about that," she said, voice low, measured, almost dangerous in its calm. Her eyes scanned me, trying to penetrate every layer I had built over the years. I nodded slowly, deliberate. I wasn't joking. Her lips pressed into a thin line. I let my tone brush the edges of what was unsaid. "So, I know enough. Enough for her to realize that all the walls she had erected, all the laughter, the deflections, the casual dismissal of our past, meant nothing anymore. I wasn't just noticing, I was seeing, and in that seeing, pretense had no place." She crossed her arms, the mug still warm in her hands, letting out a small sigh, part frustration, part acknowledgement. "I thought we could just laugh things off," she murmured, more statement than question. I moved slightly closer, not threatening, just shifting the energy. "Some things aren't funny," I said, "and some things aren't meant to be ignored." Her eyes searched mine for familiar softness, the safety she had counted on. But it wasn't there. Instead, I offered something steadier, colder, a quiet weight that let her know I was serious without raising my voice. She swallowed again, slower this time. "So what now?" she asked, almost a whisper, tension woven through every word. "What now?" I repeated, letting it roll slowly. "Is that we stop pretending. You stop hiding. I stop guessing. We decide whether we're still on the same side, or if I step back and let the truth catch up to us." She flinched slightly, not because she hadn't expected it, but because it was true. And truth, even quietly spoken, can hit harder than anger. I let the silence stretch, giving her space to absorb it. And in that stillness, I realized the smile she lost wasn't about a joke. It was understanding that I was no longer the man she could manipulate, control, or mislead. That truth would follow her for a long time. She placed the mug down, fingers lingering a moment too long on the edge. Hesitation in her eyes, a slight tightening of her jaw. Small shifts that spoke louder than words. She knew the game had changed, and she wasn't sure she was ready to play by the new rules. I leaned on the counter, arms crossed, voice steady. "We've been circling the same conversation for months," I said. "But not anymore." My words weren't loud, weren't dramatic. The quiet certainty carried more weight than any shouting could. Her eyes dropped, searching for excuses. I didn't think," she began, but I held up a hand. "Stop. Don't explain. Not yet. Actions matter more than words now. I've been watching, noticing everything." She swallowed hard, blinking rapidly, trying to hold back a truth she couldn't deny. I stayed calm, letting the silence carry the weight of her own conscience. The room felt smaller, the air heavier, as months of neglect and dishonesty condensed into this single inescapable moment. Finally, she met my gaze. "So you understand," she whispered. "I understand enough," I said. "Enough to know some doors can't be closed with a smile, some jokes can't be laughed off, and some choices have consequences." Her shoulders slumped, silent acknowledgement. The tension didn't vanish. It transformed into clarity. She understood that our game of pretending nothing mattered was over. I wasn't angry the way she expected. I was clear, composed, unshakable. I took a slow step back. "I won't be a participant in my own neglect. You choose whether we rebuild or walk separate paths. That choice is yours, but I won't chase it anymore." Her lips parted as if to speak, but no words came. Silence stretched, deliberate, heavy, needing no explanation. I nodded once and turned toward the door, leaving her with the full weight of realization. The kettle hissed. The dishwasher hummed. Outside, the night pressed close, carrying remnants of what once was. I paused at the doorknob and, for the first time in months, felt unshackled, free from the weight of pretense, denial, and waiting. She understood. The balance had shifted. The joke had landed. But it wasn't funny anymore. It was real,